Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Career Search Lunch and Learn, and I'm Linda Brubaker. I'm a career coach, career transitions coach. I'm still kind of trying to come up with the right title because things keep changing all the time. And my goal is to continue to change with the changing marketplace, to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Now, when I say that I've been a career transition coach for the last 8 years, that's true. And 922 of the people that I've worked with during that time frame, either private support for meetings like this or private coaching, or some of the information that I'm giving people, 922 of those people have gotten offers so far during those 8 years. I build the information that I give you on my 20 plus years of experience in human resources. I've been a recruiter both inside and outside companies, so a headhunter as well as a talent acquisitions person and a talent acquisitions manager inside a company. I have been a human resources business partner and a hiring manager. And as I said, I've been doing this career search coaching, this career transitions coaching now for the last 8 years. The information that I give you is based not only on that, but it's based on my ongoing connections and research with people that I know, people in the industry, to bring you the best practices, what's happening in the market today, not only from the job search perspective, but from the perspective of hiring managers, talent acquisition managers, as well as the recruiters, the executive recruiters, both inside and outside the company. So we're building that information based on everything that we see out there to be able to give you the best resources that we can. That's it. Now, I mentioned when you join this group that this is not a sales opportunity, even for me, but I did put my information in the chat, and I'm going to do it once more, because what I want to do is remind you that I do this as my labor of love, and I have been for the last 8 years. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. One of the problems with looking at the screen and trying to type at the same time is I'm not really good at that. In any event, I work with people individually to help support this practice. So I do private coaching, working with people in every stage of their career search journey, from thinking about what their strategy is, what kinds of things they're looking for, to formatting their marketing materials, because face it, your resume, your LinkedIn profile are marketing materials, to talking with you about how you can do that kind of networking and engagement, both here in programs like this, as well as on LinkedIn, because again, all of that is very important as part of what we do. So if you want to work with me, and there are several of you who are, my information is in the chat. I would love to be able to do that as well. And if you just want a quick little conversation, that information is there too. That said, let's get going. So we start these meetings, as you know, with quick wins. If you have a quick win, by the way, because we have so many people in the room, we're already up over 30, please make sure that you are raising your digital hand so that I know, okay, that we can get a hold of you. And by the way, the quick wins discussion is important because it leads right into our idea today for our conversation about getting motivated, staying motivated, and that resilience in your career search. So Jennifer, you've got a quick win.
Yes, I actually have two interviews coming up. One this afternoon, so I'll be logging off at 12:45. That I found through a direct referral with another person in the company, the law firm. And then I have a phone interview tomorrow morning, a law firm that I found the job on Indeed, but I emailed one of their attorneys directly, and she's going to be giving me a phone interview tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. Good for you. Congratulations. Let me
Thank
know
you.
how things go. Let us all know. And Lisa, you said success.
I had a couple interviews. They went very well. So that's third interviews for both of them. I wanted to let everybody know, just to give you information. One of my interviews was 4.5 hours long. So this is what it kind of was. It was meeting with every single person that I would be in contact with working in this position. And it was for a university. So sometimes that happens, I
It
guess.
does.
Yeah. So I'll know by the end of this week for both of them, the university job would that would be my last interview. And then the other one, I would probably have another interview next week. So we'll see.
Congratulations. And yes, the university process is very slow. In fact, the fact that they said that they would get back to you by the end of the week actually surprises me.
Yeah, both of them were very responsive in giving me specific information as to when they would get back with me, which was great.
Absolutely. So yes, make sure you follow up. And if you don't hear from them or in their time frame, just don't go back and say, you told me you were going to get to me. Okay. I wanted to let you know I'm really excited about the opportunity and I'm looking forward to next steps.
Okay.
It's a good way of reminding them that you're still there, and it does it in a way without making them feel bad.
People get busy, I understand.
Yep. Congratulations. Keep us
All right,
posted.
thank you.
Sandra.
Well, I have a quick win. Because I have a passion for technology and been studying AI ever since ChatGPT was released in late 2022, I am transitioning my career into AI enablement that includes education and training. And I was approached by a local group to develop a training course for AI for data professionals. And this would be for data scientists, data analysts, etc. And this includes individuals in the data world profession from entry level through to senior level individuals. So that course is being delivered locally, and that is going to be held on Thursday, September 25th. So I'm quite thrilled about that. This is a brand new course that I'm in process of developing. And this is actually fulfilling my objective into developing a career in AI enablement, education, and training. So, gosh, just even as I said that, I just got this big rush of energy through me. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
You should be. Congratulations. That sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm looking to see. Are there any other hands raised? Anybody else have a quick win? Okay, so I have one actually. Becky Amble is also somebody that you should follow on and somebody maybe can help put that information in the chat. I'll try and find it. But Becky Amble is also someone who is heavily into that AI space and just published a book yesterday. It is 99 cents if you're doing the Kindle version right now on Amazon. But it's about AI prompting for job search for job seekers. And there are several people who are listed in chapter 19, okay, as career search resources, and I'm one of them. So it's a book that it's one of those things that I think you should take a look at, not necessarily because I'm there, but also because I think there's some great information in there. And if I don't find the link now, what I will do, or if somebody else doesn't find that link, I will put it into our private group later, and I will try and add it to the chat before I post it. By the way, speaking of the chat, make sure that you do add your information into the chat. It's going to be really important because people connect with you there. We share information with you there. And I will also make sure that what I'm doing, yes, it is on Amazon. The chat is something that I am going to add into our private group, and I will add it either today or tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow, to make sure that everybody's there, but I want to make sure that you have that as well. Any other quick wins? Okay. By the way, in a post this morning, one of the things Lisa said when I said she gave me an idea for ongoing meetings was the idea that we should do some small group breakout rooms again to do some networking. So thank you, Lisa. And if we have time today, we'll do some of those. But if not, I will build them into upcoming sessions as well. Today's topic is really going to be led by you all. So one of the things that we said we were talking about is the terrible idea of how do we get motivated, stay motivated, keep that resilience in ourselves and in job search going, because we know it's tough. I mean, with everything from applying and not hearing back, or you get an interview and it doesn't go anywhere. or you're trying to make those networking connections and it's not happening, or the interview process takes forever, right? Lisa, the fact that you had 4 interviews in one day, that's a university practice, but in many cases, you'd come back 4 separate times for those 4 separate interviews, which is not really a good thing. But the process can take a very long time. And because we're finding that it's spread out, or the process is that you get the job and it looks great, and then the job gets pulled for whatever reason. We're also seeing that there are more people who are getting laid off every day. And we're seeing companies that are pulling back some of not only their hiring, but their job opportunities. And there are fake jobs out there, and there are fake recruiters. And we know all of that. And that can all be incredibly disheartening. It can make things even worse. So what I want to do is I want to share both some of the frustrations as well as some of the tips you have for what you do to build that break, that motivation back into your job search and into your career search so that we can keep going for the long haul, because we know that this can be a long haul. So if you have ideas, please raise your digital hand and let's get this conversation going. Right. Jennifer, I'm going to add you to the screen. Anyone else wants to get started? Join the conversation. All right, Jennifer, you can get started.
I guess one thing that's hard for me is I feel like job searching is an emotional roller coaster. You know, I had 2 months with no interviews. Granted, it was over the summer. I just was feeling very discouraged and kind of in a trial. And now I have 2 in 2 days, which is wonderful. But there's so many emotional. I'm used to being more of a steady state person, and I find that job hunting is such an emotional roller coaster. So how to kind of deal with that is a question I have.
Yeah, job search is definitely not a steady state opportunity. It's come and go. Some days it's feast, some days it's famine, some days it feels like you're taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back. So yeah. You're all of you in the center are unmuted, so go ahead and chime in anytime you want.
Okay, so this week on Monday, they have a monthly newsletter from our library, and they had a yoga class. And it was my first yoga class, and it was really good. It was like an hour and a half. I didn't realize yoga is like, there's all different types of yoga, and it was very interesting. It was like an hour and a half class for free. So I was like, and they said they're going to have 2 more in October. So I'm definitely going to do that again, because it helps you. It's like amazing.
It's a great break. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I did that.
Very good.
I definitely check your library out.
Check your library out, not just for things like yoga, but for all kinds of other things. Many libraries have now what's something called, in our library, they call it a forge. It's a place where you can do crafts, in effect. You can build things. You can do a variety of different things, everything from scanning your own pictures into your own personal drive, right? So that they're not sitting there forever, to taking a class, to learning everything from yoga to Excel. There are so many different opportunities at your library, and they're free. Take advantage of them when you can, and it's a good break from job search. Sandra.
Because I've had an underpinning of sales throughout the majority of my career, I reflect on what it is that I have done in all my prior career transitions. And it's all about having a system. Have a system with processes and procedures. Plan out your entire week and identify what is it that I'm going to do on Monday that supports my career search. And is it networking? Is it going to be job search? And you can just take a few minutes every single morning to search for new roles. And a little story. I recently had a networking call with an individual who she became aware of a position because she networked into the company. The position was posted on LinkedIn, yet when she went to the company website, the position wasn't listed. So because she networked into the company, she called the person, and this was a senior individual, and she said, I noticed that the position's on LinkedIn, yet it's missing from your company website. So the person said, let me go and check and I'll get back to you. The person got back to her and said, there's a situation within the company. We're unable to post it on the company website, but we've posted it on LinkedIn. Send me your resume and I'll walk it over to the hiring manager. So this is an example of the critical point of networking into the company. And what I also do is, what I suggest is go on the company, have your target list of companies, get focused on the type of companies that you want to work for. Go to the people tab on the company, on the LinkedIn company page, scan through all those people and look for mutual connections. That is a clue that you can contact that person in the company, and that's a soft entry point. I noticed that you and I are both connected to so-and-so. I would love to know more about your role, what you do in the company, and how you like working there. And so just having that affinity point of having that mutual connection and referencing that in your message, direct message to them, that provides that soft entry. But getting back, have a system, plan out your week, because without a system, without a plan to fail.
Absolutely. And that whole idea of networking connections is really important. It's one of the things we forget about. So open to you, to anybody in this group. Go in and not only search your connections, but if I'm connected to anyone that you're looking to do, in many cases, these are not people that I've actually met, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm happy to make that e-introduction for you, or at least to give you the names and the titles so that you can network in yourself. Please feel free to do that. I've reached out to several people that way and provided those kinds of connections and support, and I'm happy to do it for anyone. But you can do it to all of us. So when you're going in and you're doing your search for how do you find those connections, okay? As Sandra said, one of the things you can do is you can go into that target company, look at people, and then you can filter that by your connections. You can also go into your connections, on your own tab. There's a filter there. Let me see if I can do that real quick. Okay, while I pull that up, maybe. I'm going to share that screen. By the way, I love it when something pops up and it's not only a networking connection, okay? Jen Nichols was somebody that was a recruiter at one of the companies that I was providing information into in one of my recruiting roles. But she's also somebody who found a job with some of my advice, the job that she's currently in. So it's kind of nice to have that pop up automatically. But I want to go into my network just for the moment and show you what I mean. Oops. I'm going to go into my connections. And somebody shout out, please, the name of a company that they're interested in or kind of a position. Just shout one out. Somebody has to unmute.
How about AmeriGas?
All right, perfect. So I'm going in. Let me go back to where I did. So I'm in my connections. So it's networking, then connections. I'm going to search with filters. I'm going to go to current company. AmeriGas. I'm going to show results. None is my first level, but there's several in second level. Okay, that means that they're connected to somebody else that I know. If I go third level, there's even more. Now, LinkedIn will only show you 100 people. Unless you have one of the paid versions. And usually in that case, it is a paid version. Okay, that is like LinkedIn Recruiter. But if I go in and just do second level, okay, I have 4 connections. I'm going to remove the first level because there are none. Now I'm going to add the third back. Do you have a specific location?
King of Prussia or Valley Forge. I'm not sure.
How about Pennsylvania?
Yes, it is Pennsylvania.
Right. I'm just going to say Pennsylvania. See if there's anybody there. And there are.
Yeah, this is considered their headquarters here.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I just did a search by who's in Pennsylvania right now. So that gives you an idea of the fact that you can go through and check. So
Okay.
am I necessarily connected? Do I know some of these people? No. Do I know Gwen Silverstein? I do. But there are several ways that you can then use these names to at least you now have a name that you can check out. Now, having those names, even if you choose not to reach out to them directly, gives you several benefits. One of the things that does is it gives you the opportunity, now that you have the name, to follow them on LinkedIn. You can connect with them if you like, but start following, start seeing their posts, and then commenting, making that relevant post on what they're doing. It's really important to do that because then they start to see you as the individuals that they want to connect with, that they want to know. It gives you that automatic in. It's not just you're connected to somebody who's connected to me. What a great post about such and such. You have something that you can reference so that they know that you're actually involved and engaged. So that's another thing that you can do. And you don't have to do just current people. You can narrow it down if we wanted to, since we're going to go back to third as well. Let me remove this. Sometimes those informational interviews are important. Let's say instead of doing the location, I want to look at job title.
Linda, you're not sharing right now.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm back into, I took off location. Oops. Now I'm going to go back into all filters. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at title. Okay, let me see, or I'm going to look at recruiter, just for the sake of it. And I have 3. They're not local, but it's another way of doing it. Instead, I could do let's see whether or not if that has anything. Nope. Let's see instead if I that keyword there, I could do because sometimes it's useful to find people who are doing the kind of jobs you want to do instead of just the recruiting. Nope. So there are lots of different keywords, but that one didn't work.
Can I interrupt and ask a question quickly?
Please.
The the ability to filter out or filter based on certain pieces of information, does the filtering options, do those options change based on how far into the search you are? Because I don't recall seeing information for the ability to put in like a job title. Is that just the filter options just generic regardless where you are in your search?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So if you're going, you have to go through it. You have to go all the way through.
Yeah, maybe I didn't. Okay,
Okay.
thank
It's
you.
way down the bottom. And the problem is that the title is tough because there are so many different versions of what that title could be.
Is that considered a Boolean search then? Do you need to use
It is.
quotes? Okay,
No, you don't. You could use quotes, but you don't need to.
okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Now, the other thing that you could do, let me go back home again. So I'm going to go instead into AmeriGas.
If you go upstairs and run some sense. Thank you.
Sorry, guys, workmen in the house. For those of you who started before we actually turned on the recording, we live out in an area where we're on well and septic. And there's a problem with my well. So they're trying to fix it, which means no water. So they're trying to fix that today. So I have workmen in the house right now, just so that you know. All right. So I'm going to go into people. Okay. I'm going to go into, I can go into title. I can go into location. Talent acquisition. And now there are 4 people who say that that's where they are. I can go out and take a look. I can now follow them, or I can go in. What's your area of expertise? What kind of job are you looking for?
Business analyst slash project management.
Okay, I've got 17 people who talk about project management. People you can follow. I might say instead of project management, I might say you have to keep playing with it, right? I might say project manager. Kind of like putting it in quotes in your Boolean search. Now I have 53, or I could say instead business analyst. $47. So there are lots of ways of trying to play with it to see who's out there. But what you want to do as much as possible is take a look at who these people are, find people that make sense, follow them, make comments on what they're doing. One of the things you're going to notice is the same things that I tell you. Okay. Look at the difference in the background between Cheryl Miller and Amy Tucker. No, she's not one. Actually, Andrea Watson, if you're into business analysis or operations analysis, she's somebody that I might network with. Because one of those things is, gee, I'm looking for some of those same positions too. Can you tell me a little bit about what you liked at AmeriGas, what you liked about what you were doing? Okay. What kinds of things you're looking for and what kind of support I can provide you. What did you do to get that job? What are you looking for now? That's a subtle way of finding out a little more about the work and the culture without coming right out and asking. So there are lots of ways that you can do that. You can do it on the basis of not just job title, Let's say that instead, and I'm getting off track here. So I'm going to stop. We'll do that another day when we talk about networking.
And what you've demonstrated, Linda, is thinking like a recruiter. Put yourself in the shoes of a recruiter as if you were searching for that person that you want to hire. And that's the beauty of the LinkedIn search filters. And they are so underutilized by many people. And they're so powerful. And this is also employing strategic thinking. But the biggest issue is be clear on the company that you want to work for. Have your this is sales. Have your target list. And why do you even want to work for those companies? What is it that they have in common that you like? Because maybe there's some other companies in your area that have the same type of characteristics that you may never have thought of. And expand, but first of all, you must be clear on the characteristics of the companies you want to work for, because this goes beyond having a job. If a person wants a job, you can go work at your local bookstore. That's a job. But this is your career. That's completely different. And it's about you expanding on your abilities in the next role that you're going to be in, and be clear on what do you bring to the table? How is it that you are going to make that company better? What skills, what talents are you bringing into that environment, and that you can contribute to the company, to the team, to the people you're going to be working with. Thank you.
It goes beyond having that target list. That target list of companies is absolutely important. But what's really important from that, because many of us don't necessarily know which companies we want. And the jobs that we are looking for, the careers we're looking for, can span industries. So what I want you to do is, in addition to thinking about those companies, those target companies, what those characteristics are, I want you to think about what kinds of work you want to do. Because the work you want to do can span industry, can span company. And you can do your searches based on job title, regardless. You can do your searches based on the work without even the title. But you have to use those LinkedIn drop-down boxes, which is one of the reasons that optimizing your profile to use those LinkedIn drop-down boxes makes so much sense, okay? You really have to be able to do that. So thank you.
And I'll just say one more thing.
Oh, absolutely, Sandra.
Think about your LinkedIn profile like your website. That is your personal website. And it must be search engine optimized with keywords, and utilize those keywords for the positions that you were applying for. Sprinkle them all throughout your LinkedIn profile. And particularly look at your skills. When applying for various positions, take those positions that you've applied for. You can upload them all into ChatGPT, Claude, etc., and get AI to identify all the common skills that are mentioned throughout all those position descriptions and rank them in order of importance. And then utilize those top skills within your LinkedIn profile and also in your skills section. Because I recently helped someone out with their skills section, and we identified, well, what are the top skills that these positions are looking for? And I had him reorder all of those skills according to the top skills of all those skills that were mentioned throughout the position descriptions. And so now when a recruiter does a search, goes to his LinkedIn profile, they now see the top skills mentioned instead of clicking the more button.
Okay.
And so just think of your again, think of your LinkedIn profile like your personal website and utilize those keywords throughout.
Okay, so utilizing the keywords throughout is absolutely key, but you need to know that from a recruiter standpoint, from a hiring manager standpoint, from a LinkedIn standpoint, there are only 2 skills that are going to show up in that skills section on your profile. Only 2, unless I click see more. But the search engines, my ability to search is all of them. You want to make sure that the 2 you most want to be found for are the 2 that are at the top of your list. Those are the only ones that you need to do in terms of reordering those skills. If you want to do the first 10, that's great, because if I click more, I'm not going to go beyond that. But the search engines, again, if I'm searching, I'm going to find it whether it's number 1 on your list or number 100. But make sure that the ones that you most want to be found for are at the top of your list. And Sandra's idea of checking other job postings that are out there to see what skills are most in need is absolutely useful. Yes, Kim?
I had a question about target companies. I am having issues trying to find out which ones they actually are. Now, I've gone to, or at least to come up with options, if you will. So I've gone to Reference USA, which is now Reference Solutions. And for myself in Pennsylvania, I have the ability to go in and create an account in the Free Philadelphia Library, which is accessible to everybody in Pennsylvania. So I don't know if other cities have that or not, but they have, probably all libraries have the access to the tool, and you can go in and you can search on size of the company, location, and things of that nature, whether or not they've been growing financially or not. And Sandra has presented for Career Network Ministry within the last couple of months, and she's presented twice on AI. And I found it extremely helpful. First of all, Sandra, thank you. However, I got to go back and look at the second presentation again. But with the exception of using either something like a database like Reference Solutions or going to AI, how else can I find a list of companies to research to determine if they should be even be on my target list? Because I'm not having much luck with the AI either. And like I said, I have to go back and look at Sandra's prompts, but I'm having some challenges with that.
So what kinds of companies are you looking for?
Well, I am looking for a mid to large size. At this point, I'm probably going to be hybrid. And I am in the Philadelphia area. So I live outside King of Prussia, about 20 minutes out on 422, if anybody's familiar with that. And so I would take remote as well, but I'm having difficulty, like I said, trying to target and find out those companies. And I'm told I should have like 50 or 60. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I only have like maybe 10.
So don't worry about the number. Okay.
Okay.
I would say that there are several different ways that you should do job search. And to some extent, we're not getting off topic. But the idea is, yes, if you have some target companies, that's great. But a target company is not just size. It's what does the company do?
Right.
Okay. It's what can you bring to that kind of company? What kinds of things are out there? So that's number 1. Number 2 is don't limit it just to target companies, because there may be companies out there that you're not going to find in your search. So look at the possibilities for the jobs, look at job titles as well, and then see whether or not the company is one that you might be interested in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other areas or issues, things that we're talking about in terms of getting yourself motivated, staying motivated. I loved Hillary's tip about taking the break to do something different, okay? Like yoga, something that I need to do. Okay. One of the things that we're doing today in terms of building that resilience is some networking. We're building some sharing ideas. We're celebrating successes. I want you all to celebrate success, even if that success means that instead of looking at your to-do list, because how many of you make a to-do list? Put a 1 in the chat if you do, and a 2 if you don't. Sometimes, yep. I'm seeing a lot of 1s. All right. How many of you get frustrated, me, if you don't do everything on your to-do list? Okay. Yeah, me. So I'm going to recommend that one of the tricks that you use in terms of motivation and resilience is some days, instead of when you're getting really frustrated, don't look at your to-do list and all the stuff you haven't done. I want you to create a new list at the end of the day that looks at everything you did that day. Call it a to-done list. And then for everything that's on that list, there's really satisfaction in doing this, cross it off. It gives you great satisfaction to see the things you've actually accomplished. And it could be going to that yoga class. It could be reading a book. It could be taking a walk outside. It could be attending a career search meeting. It could be doing your grocery shopping. I don't care what it is. They're all important, not just to job search, but to life. Taking a look at all the things you actually did during the course of the day gives you that sense of accomplishment, as opposed to looking at that to-do list and, I was supposed to do these 10 things and I didn't. Now what? Right? You can add those to your list for tomorrow. But that to-done list really helps in terms of that understanding of everything that you're doing. And if nothing on that list of your to-done is job search related, that's okay. Tomorrow's another day. Now, there are a lot of career coaches out there who will tell you that you have to have a list and you have to apply to 5 jobs a day or 5 jobs a week or 10 jobs a week. And I'm not one of them. I want you to make the right applications. And some days, some weeks, there may be nothing out there for you. I'd rather you spend the time on one good response than 20 that are just spray and pray. If you can't find the job opportunities, then take a walk away, okay? Do something different. Instead of applying to a job, make sure that what you're doing is some LinkedIn engagement. Find people that you want to not only connect with, but comment on. That's job search related too. It's building those connections and building that support. Maybe instead of, spray and pray absolutely doesn't work, Cheryl. But it's important to be able to recognize that job search isn't just about finding the right companies and making the applications. It's about improving your skills, taking a class. It's about keeping your motivation up and doing different things. It's about networking. It's about demonstrating that you are the person other people want to talk to. And that means not just an optimized LinkedIn profile, although that absolutely is incredibly important. And we will be talking about that again, just the same way we're going to be talking on October 8th about resumes. And not only why they should be customized, but how. And answering some of your resume questions and looking at some. But it's important to be able to demonstrate that you have the expertise that people want. LinkedIn commenting is one of the most underused resources you have in your career search, and not just in your career search, but in your career growth. LinkedIn isn't a one-time, I'm just here during job search. It's here all the time. You need to use it all the time. But we are finding more and more that not only are companies checking out your LinkedIn profile before they call you for an interview, they're checking out your LinkedIn engagement. They want to see the kinds of things that you are doing, the resources that you're providing to other people. Those LinkedIn comments, yes, the posts are important, don't get me wrong, but posts aren't for everyone, and I know that. But you can spend 20 minutes a day on LinkedIn commenting for relevant people. Remember to do that search based on what kinds of things you're looking for. Find those people. Target those people. Demonstrate your expertise in a comment of anywhere from 15 to 18 words minimum. And that doesn't mean that your comment is, gee, this is really interesting. Why? Pose a question. Have you thought about it? Gee, I hadn't thought about it in this way, but that's really interesting. And then give a reason why. The idea is to demonstrate your expertise, not to take over the post, but to make another comment that helps to move the conversation forward professionally. It is incredibly important to do that. And when you're doing that, especially if you've got those targeted companies and you're commenting on their posts or people from within that company, that's important. I'm going to see that. If you are tagging those people in your posts, that helps. Remember, not just because I want to, but because it makes sense. Don't tag people just because. Tag people because there's a reason. Sandra does that really well. Lisa does that very well. Okay. It's important to be able to do that. So you're providing visibility not just for them, but for you. And every time you comment on someone's post, here's the thing that people forget. If you make your own post, that's fantastic. But when you come, it's seen by people, maybe seen by people in your network or in whose news feeds it comes up. But if you're commenting on someone else's post, it gets seen not only by people in your news feed, it gets seen by people in the news feed of that original poster. And when people have their settings in a certain way, people are going to see that that other people are commenting on that post. And if it's a post that's important to them, they're going to come in and take a look too. You've heard that LinkedIn engagement is going down, and it is. But what's going up is that people are engaging on your comments. And engaging doesn't mean that they're replying back. It means that they're actually reading them. And that's what gives you the visibility. The impressions on your comments, that's becoming the biggest issue. Why is LinkedIn engagement going down? Oh, Cheryl, I wish I knew. Okay. Part of it is because there are too many pods out there, too many bots. We don't honestly know why LinkedIn engagement is down. If you look at some of the posts out there, there are a lot of us questioning that issue. And actually, I've stopped commenting on those posts because it's not productive. We can't fix it. What we can do is we can talk about what you can do for you. The things that we know are working. You can look at some of your comments and see the amount of impressions you have for the comments versus the kind of impressions you have for a post. So don't really know why it's going down. But tagging, asking a question, making a reasonable comment, Lisa, absolutely. Okay. And again, thank you for doing that for me this morning. By the way, I try and respond to all of those. Now, there are days when I am offline, as I was for the last 2 days. But I will get back to everybody and I will reply to all comments as quickly as I can. And you all need to do the same. Sandra, excuse me.
You know, I'm listening to you speaking, Linda, and with this LinkedIn engagement, a number of thoughts have come to mind, and the algorithm is changing all the time.
Yes,
and so
tell us what it is.
It becomes like the tail wagging the dog. The objective of LinkedIn is that it wants to keep us on the platform 24/7. So the more we're on the platform, the better they like it. And so avoid getting sucked into that trap. And also, another reason why LinkedIn engagement is down from my perspective, too much AI generated content. Because I've noticed that when I scroll through my feed, I can immediately tell when there's content, the words that have been generated by AI, I can tell in a split second, and I keep moving. I keep scrolling past, and I resist. It's just this internal resistance to engage with the post. And that's affecting the engagement. So focus on the value that you bring to the platform, the value of your opinions, the value of your knowledge, and just let it go. Stop looking at the engagement. Stop looking at the analytics, because it's like going into a deep abyss, and you'll just make yourself crazy. So just focus on value, focus on connection. That's it. And the rest will happen. Thank you.
Absolutely right. So I agree. The same way that we can tell when a post is written by AI, we can tell when a comment is written by AI, we can tell when it's a bot. Okay. It's not a good thing. I don't engage with those. Most people don't, but it's the same thing that we find when you're doing that AI in writing your comments. Please don't. AI is a good search tool. It's a good research tool, but everything that you write needs to be you. I need to be able to see and hear the same person online as I am in your comments, in your posts, in your resume. You'll notice that I've started adding a line to the bottom of my posts. And it says, this was written by me, by the way, not by AI. Somebody actually called that out today in one of his posts, Ken Lang, and recognized that that's happening because there are so many posts out there and we really don't know. It's important to be you, but I agree, Sandra. I don't comment. I don't engage on posts or comments, okay, that are obviously bot generated or written by an AI. I can tell, I won't do it. And if it's AI written, okay, if I'm getting those AI comments and spam, I block them, I report them, and I block them. More and more of us are trying to do that. LinkedIn says they're trying to block some of those. They're trying to figure out a way to do it. But the only thing that we can do right now is report and block the individual who's making the comment, and I use individual loosely. We can also just not engage in those and make sure that the people we are engaging with are real people as much as we can. You can do your part. So it's really important to be able to do that. Sandra, you got your hand up.
Another comment is that when you do follow people in the companies that you are targeting, go to their bell and make sure it's clicked to all. Instead of the middle selection, click all. And then you will see all of their posts in your feed, or there's a higher likelihood.
I was going to say yes, but LinkedIn is, you have to double click it. So click it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's a better way to even do that. Instead of just doing that, because we're finding that, yes, because the LinkedIn algorithm is changing, I know that there are people that I've double clicked for that I'm not seeing their posts. Or I'm seeing a post that they did 3 weeks ago instead of one that they did today. But if you go in, and I'm going to share my screen one more time. And there are several ways of doing this, but this is my way. Okay. So I'm going to go into the search bar, and I'm not clicking anything. I'm just going to click return. And now I'm going to click on posts. From member. And I'm going to add somebody's name. So let me add for the moment. Okay, just because she's there. Not necessarily because it's somebody I want, but okay. And I'm going to show results. And then I'm going to go back into the same search. Nope. See, that's not where I want. I want to add another name. Brenda Miller. Okay, now I'm going to add more. Oops. Let me add another one. Let me add. Just as an example. So I've now got 3 people there. I've got posts from all of them. They're going to show up. But I don't want to see just blank ones. So I'm going to go into date posted. And I'm going to say, I want to see the posts that they've made within the last week. I can sort by whatever else I want. But now for those 3 people, I'm going to see everything that they've done in the last week. And I can save this search. I can bookmark it. That means that every time I go into LinkedIn, if I want to, I can see everything new here. So what I usually do is instead of saying, okay, past week, I may go in and say the past 24 hours if I know I'm really going to be on every week or every day. It gives me the ability to stay current and to make sure that I'm seeing what's current for them. I would do this for the people that you want to follow, people whose content is important to you. I would do it for the people you are following from individual companies. I would do a separate search. By the way, you can only add 20 people in one of those searches at a time. So do one, save it, and then do another one. And then name it in a way that you can make sure that you find it. So my personal one, I have one for LinkedIn support or LinkedIn people. I have one for LinkedIn coaches. That includes people like Kevin. Shoot. As I say that, my mind has gone blank. But you know, you get the idea.
Kevin Turner.
Thank you, Kevin Turner. Jeff. Sorry, chemo brain. Can't remember some of the names, but you know the kinds of people that you want. So I've got some of them for people like you, for us. So by the way, if you've got a post out there and you want me to see it, make sure that what you do is you let me know. You can send me a DM, tell me to do it. And several of you have done that, and I will comment on it because I don't always have you all in one of these ideas. Okay? Yes. Alan.
Linda, a great discussion. Just to add to your point on doing searches, you can also do that by, instead of typing in an individual's name, if you just type in the word hiring and then hit refresh and do search, it'll also tell you all the people who have posted hiring positions or a post regarding that. And then you can even sort by time, just like you described. So part of the challenge is getting to those opportunities quickly. So if you do that structure and then click 24 hours, you'll see all of the people who've posted hiring positions in the last 24 hours. So that's just another way to absolutely use the search function to your advantage.
Absolutely. And it's great because it gives you the ability to stay on top of things. There are very few things you can control in this job search market, but staying on top of who's doing what, that you absolutely can control. And that's a great way to do it. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Anything else? I know we're running late on time. So before I know that people are leaving, excuse me, I want to remind you to save the chat. Now, I will put the chat in our private group later. Sometimes it keeps all of the links, sometimes it doesn't. I apologize for that, but I'll do my best. But at the top of the chat screen where it says Career Search Lunch and Learn, there are 3 dots. Click on those and it says Save Chat. You can do that, and then after the meeting, you can find it. It'll show up in your file folders, and you can decide where to save it. You can also do it the old-fashioned way by clicking anywhere into the chat. Click Control A, Control C, and then copy it into a document for yourself. But as I said, I will post it. Now, I'm not telling anybody they have to leave yet. It's okay. Well, I'm happy to stay for another couple of minutes if we can. Okay. So that was what our discussion was all about. So the idea is to be able to share information and advice, see what's going on, share those ideas for staying and keeping motivated. I'm going to add one more thing in terms of your search, and that the idea is, actually, I have something that I'd like you all to do. We're not meeting next week. Next week is Rosh Hashanah, and even though I say I do career search every Wednesday, I take off for holidays. So I'm taking next Wednesday off. I'm going to be in services instead. But in the next 2 weeks, I want you all to reach out to at least one person in our group, whether it's in our private group, okay, where there are now over 470 people, or from the chat, somebody new that you've met today, whose face you've seen and you want to talk to. But I want you to reach out to at least one person, thank you, to have a quick chat, get to know them. And honestly, I am going to ask, okay, this is an accountability session. I want you to be able to come back to me next week, and I want to find out how many of you actually follow through. By the way, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to have that conversation. And a conversational chat can be anything from, hey, it was nice to see you today. What kind of tips did you pick up? To what's going on for you? What are you planning to do this weekend? I don't care. It's making the effort to do that. Okay. It can even be saying, gee, this was really interesting. I saw you in the group. What can I do to support you? That's a reach out. And you can put it on your to-done list and check it off. But then I want you to follow up and put it on your to-do list as a follow-up to-do one. Now, Lisa, I don't know whether you're still here. Are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay, so I know we are past our time. But for those of you who are still interested, we've still got about 20 people, more than 20 people in the room. If anybody's interested, I'm willing to stay on for another 20 minutes and do a networking session, meaning do a breakout. So if you'd like to meet with other people in the room, okay, then I'm happy to put you into breakout sessions and let you do that. For the next 20 minutes. Anybody interested? I know people have to drop, and that's quite all right. All right. I'm also going to do an additional networking session. Stop the recording.